Protests over the fatal shooting of a Minneapolis woman by a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent have spread across the United States, igniting outrage and calls for accountability. Tens of thousands marched in the snow-covered streets of Minneapolis, and demonstrations were held in cities from New York to Philadelphia as Americans vented their anger over the killing of 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good, a mother of three.
The homicide that was perpetrated on her by ICE, by a federal agent of ICE, that stands as a threat to all of us. I feel compelled to be out here standing up for her, standing up for us, standing up for the least of us who can't be out here shouting and protesting.
In New York City, more than 100 people braved the rain outside the ICE field office at Federal Plaza, shouting demands for justice and chanting for Good's name. Protesters condemned what they described as the needless use of lethal force, and many demanded an end to aggressive federal immigration enforcement nationwide.
You're not behaving legally, you're not behaving morally, you're not doing police work the way it's supposed to be done, you're not protecting the citizens, you're creating more problems and chaos.
Should there be an investigation?
Of course there should be. They're stopping the investigation as much as they can, but if enough of us scream and yell, maybe someone will listen and start to do something.
Meanwhile, in cities across Pennsylvania and North Carolina, demonstrators took to the streets, linking local grievances to national outrage. In Minneapolis itself, crowds confronted federal officers outside a federal building, chanting shame and abolish ICE, as thousands marched through the downtown area in bitter cold. Organizers say this weekend's protests are part of a coordinated movement with over 1,000 rallies planned across the country under the slogan, ICE Out for Good. The death of Renee Good has become a flashpoint in the debate over immigration enforcement, highlighting deep divisions over federal policy and law enforcement practices. Local officials and critics argue that video footage of the incident contradicts federal claims that the agent acted in self-defense, and they say the response so far has lacked transparency.
Yesterday, and there are a lot of different forms to it, but there was a woman screaming, shame, 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 shame. She was a agitator, probably a paid agitator, but in my opinion, she was an agitator, a very high-level agitator, so professional, she wouldn't stop screaming. I said, this isn't a normal situation. This is a professional troublemaker, because you heard it and I had it. Now, I will say this, the news sort of turned her down, turned her off, because you're trying to watch. She was so loud and so crazy and just not normal. When somebody sees something like that, they don't go screaming and the same words. So I guess you could say professional, but I didn't think she did a very good job. You have agitators, and we will always be protecting ICE, and we're always going to be protecting our Border Patrol and our law enforcement. Yeah.
In your conversations with these oil executives today, did you provide any security guarantees so that they can do their work safely in Venezuela? Yeah. And separately, Mr. President,
they will have those guarantees, yes.
And separately, Mr. President, I'm curious in terms of the future of Venezuela. Do you see Venezuela, now led by Delcy Rodriguez, as an ally of the U.S.? Is that the way that you view that country right now?
Well, right now they seem to be an ally, and I think it'll continue to be an ally, and we don't want to have Russia there, we don't want to have China there. And by the way, we don't want Russia or China going to Greenland, which if we don't take Greenland, you're going to have Russia or China as your next door neighbor. That's not going to happen. The white...
Mr. President, thank you. You just said that these companies would have security guarantees if they go in on the ground in Venezuela.
They will have.
And what is your plan there actually for these companies and those Americans who are going to be on the ground working for these companies?
Well, there are going to be Americans. I assume they're going to be using a lot of Americans, but they're going to be using a lot of people from Venezuela and other places, I would imagine. But I would think that mostly they'll be using Venezuelan workers. They have a lot of great workers. They have a very high unemployment rate, and they have workers that are very familiar with taking oil out of the ground. Yeah.
How long do you think the Ayatollah will be in power after what we've seen play out on the ground there? When is the U.S. going to get involved now that reports of protesters being killed on the ground?
So Iran's in big trouble. It looks to me that the people are taking over certain cities that nobody thought were really possible just a few weeks ago. We're watching the situation very carefully. I've made the statement very strongly that if they start killing people like they have in the past, we will get involved. We'll be hitting them very hard where it hurts. And that doesn't mean boots on the ground, but it means hitting them very, very hard where it hurts. So we don't want that to happen. There have been cases like this where President Obama totally backed down. But this is something pretty incredible that's happening in Iran. It's an amazing thing to watch. They've done a bad job. They've treated their people very badly, and now they're being paid back. So let's see what happens. We're watching it. We're watching it very closely. Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Do you have any comments in reaction to the recent attacks by the Syrian government alignment groups against US-backed Kurdish forces in Aleppo, Syria, which killed dozens of civilians and displacing many families? Does your administration bring peace between the Kurds and the Syrian government?
I want to see peace, yes, I do. The Kurds and the Syrian government, we get along with both, as you know, very well. They have been natural enemies over the years, but we get along both, and we want to see Syria succeed. And so far, I think they are succeeding, but this is just breaking out, and we want to see that stopped. Go ahead, please.
Colombia, Gustavo Petro, in a few weeks. Do you hope this meeting with Gustavo Petro marks a new chapter, a new beginning in the benefit of the U.S. and Colombia relations?
What country?
Colombia, with the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro.
I had a very good talk with him yesterday, and he's been very hostile to us and to the nation and to me, called me a dictator and lots of other things. Called Biden some terrible names, far worse than he called me. But he called yesterday through people, and he wants to meet, and that's fine with me. I've made up with people also, So we're going to have a meeting with him. We had a very good conversation. The people of Colombia are incredible people. Marco would know that better than anybody because he's married to a woman from Colombia. And I don't mean Columbia University. That would be, I'm not sure. I think I like Colombia, the country, better, if you want to know the truth. The people, hold it. The people are great people. I look forward to meeting with them. We're going to meet in the very near future.